Staying with us, it's time now to take a look at stories making the headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says, Naira, customers overwhelm banks with cash demands. Naira, customers overwhelm banks with cash demands. You find all the details on the front page of the Nation newspaper. We move now to the front page of the Punch newspaper. 4 days to polls. Naira chaos grounds economy. 4 days to polls. Naira chaos grounds economy. Banks ration 200 Naira notes. Nigerians lament hardship. Protesters raise 2 Ogun banks. Vandalize local government office. You find the details on the front page of the Punch newspaper. To the front page of the Tribune newspaper, Naira swap policy. National Working Committee governors ask Malami to prevail on CBN. APC National Working Committee governors ask Malami to prevail on CBN. Still talking about the Naira swap policy. You'll find all the details on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. We move now to the Guardian newspaper. APC applies pressure on Malami over Supreme Court order. APC applies pressure on Malami over Supreme Court order. All the details on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. To the front page of this Nigerian newspaper now. Naira crisis. APC wades into governor's face-off with the federal government CBN. 6 out-of-court settlement ahead of tomorrow's Supreme Court hearing. Malami meets Adamu El-Rufai Bello Matawali at party's secretariat. All the details on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. Mike?
All right, I have the blueprint here. The blueprint is also on the same issues. Naira redesign saga. That's what the blueprint has. And it says protesters raise banks in Ogun. APC, PDP trade blame. Adamu Malami, APC governors meet over Supreme Court case. And the ruling party wants out-of-court settlement. Sources are saying this. And NOA says people's wrong perception of policy. And Fulani writes, CBN seeks details of printing new notes. Right? All this on the front page, or Falana rather. Falana wants CBN and seeks details of printing new notes. That's Blueprint newspaper. From there, let's go to Nigerian News Direct. Naira scarcity unrest. We are ready to secure environment for 2023 elections. Security chiefs are saying this. We are ready to secure environment for 2023 elections. Security chiefs. Protests spread as hoodlums set 2 banks ablaze, destroy council facilities. I don't have new notes, Governor Adeleke laments. All right, all this on the front page of the News Direct. From there, let's go to Business Day. Naira crisis intensifies pressure to sell votes. Naira crisis intensifies pressure to sell votes. All right, that's what Business Day has in there. Naira crisis intensifies pressure to sell votes. Daily Trust is next. And Daily Trust says DSS steps up investigation of Emefiele. DSS steps up investigation of Emefiele. Allegations around funds diversion, terrorism financing, and CBN governor gets 24-hour protection from troops. Military deployment, normal practice. Defense headquarters are saying this. All this you see on the front page of the Daily Trust. Now from there, let's go to Leadership newspaper. Excuse me. 2023 polls. Security agencies dispel postponement rumor. Security agencies dispel postponement rumor. We're all ready for Saturday election, says CDS. Okay? And Commonwealth observers task INEC candidates on credible election. Right? We understand former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, is leading that delegation to Nigeria. And the Business AM is the last one we're seeing now. Election like no other. Nigerians choose between pre-post-independence candidates. All right? Nigerians choose between pre-post-independence candidates. All that you see on the front page of Business AM.
All right, Mike, let's, as we count down to the election, let's talk about matters of security, where the Chief of Defense Staff, Loki Rabo, has come out to say that, you know what, we are prepared, to handle any matters of security leading up to the elections, because there have been, some form of stories here and there that there might be the possibility of the elections not holding. INEC has come out to complain at some point that they didn't have enough cash. And so people have been reading all sorts of things, giving interpretation to the happenings in the country, saying that there might be chances that, this election might be postponed. But with the Chief of Defense Staff coming out to speak now that, the election won't be postponed, it will hold February the 25th. Do you see whether that will douse the tension in the minds of Nigerians, how looking at what is happening on the ground?
Well, the point there is, I think it goes a long way to send messages and signals or vibes to those who might want the election to be postponed one way or the other. Recall that the president has said this election will hold. Whatever the thing is, this election will hold. INEC chairman has come out to say election will hold. Recall that he was at Chatham House and he said from everything they are ready for elections 247. So they're just sitting down and waiting for the day to come.
Right.
So that is not to say there are few things that shouldn't be, there are no few things to be taken care of. There's some things that have to be looked into, especially when it comes to logistics. We hear, as of yesterday, that INEC office was attacked or even bombed in Kogi State, Kene, yesterday. So all of these issues are there. But the Chief of Defense Staff coming out to say that election will hold and they are ready to deploy to secure the environment, it goes a long way to tell that the army is ready to support the democracy of Nigeria. The point there is, of course, the army has no direct, constitutionally, the army has no duty, has no role to perform during elections. Election is a civic matter.
Absolutely.
It's a civic duty. If there's any threat to security, police is there
to handle it.
There is a
Civil
Defense Corps. They are there. The DSS, they are all there to help, not the military. But when it gets to the level where it seems like some people or some elements, either within or outside Nigeria, will try to use the opportunity to foment any kind of trouble, the last resort, the military will be rolled out. But if you see what's going on in Anambra State and in the Southeast, it tells you that a lot of people don't want the election to hold. Especially, we saw some videos where some hoodlums came out to say that if you vote, you die. If you vote, you die.
And so then they were destroying, there were those who came out to destroy some persons who came to campaign somewhere.
Exactly.
They were destroying their materials and
Very good. So it tells you that some persons are just out to create confusion, just out to create mayhem, using this whole election situation. So what do you want the military to do? Of course, they'll have to wait in to ensure that the normalcy returns to everywhere for people to cast their vote, especially in areas where
sensitive areas.
Exactly. In the Southeast, we've seen continuous, repeated attacks here and there.
Yes.
There's tension everywhere. And then, especially in parts of Anambra State. So the point there is that this word from the military goes a long way to secure and tell Nigerians that they are safe, or they should be safe during the elections. And also assuring that the election will not be postponed. Because at this time, just few days to the election, everybody, we can see the election, from here you can see the election already. And the election will shift. No, election will hold.
No,
so let's
recall
let
that I think in 2015 there was a 2 weeks postponement of the election because of some security issues that needed to be handled at the time. And so perhaps that is why a lot of persons have been saying perhaps there might be postponements with regards to the elections. Again, goes back to the matter of consequences of our actions when you talked about the insecurity, the situation in the Southeast. If there is a matter of voter apathy, and this is people still talk about being marginalized, who is going to be held responsible? Because you did not come out. We are seeing the challenges of persons, not allowing people have confidence in the system, or electoral system, and so they cannot come out to vote, again comes back to haunt you
No,
when you keep saying you are being marginalized at the end of the day.
We have always said that this issue of marginalization, if we have to talk about that, put it on the platform and discuss it and dissect it, every part of this country feels marginalized. Every part of this country feels marginalized, one way or the other, if you anyhow. And then if you cascade it from the national to the state level, there are people within the state who will tell you, oh, we are being marginalized in our local government, or our ethnic group is being marginalized. You have all that in all the states. If you cascade it down to the local government, some people will say, hey, our region or district is being marginalized. Right. So the point there is this marginalization. It is a feeling generally, but whether the feeling is genuine, of course, it's genuine. When people don't feel included, when people don't feel the
but
impact.
This is the opportunity.
But the point
for you to make your voice heard.
Staying away or creating or fomenting trouble does not solve the issue of marginalization.
Right.
If you are being marginalized, and for people who see it from that perspective, it will be better to look at Nigeria as a whole. Especially when we're talking from the perspective of a section of the country saying we're being marginalized. Of course, we know that a lot of things have not happened the way they're supposed to happen. But when you say, okay, the elections will not hold, let us kill our people, let us make them sit at home, and so on. It is your people you're hurting.
At your own detriment.
You're hurting your own people because you're not going to change anything. If you take it further beyond what the law allows, because everybody has the right to protest. But the moment you take it beyond what the law allows, of course, you are calling the security agents to come in, and then they will arrest you. And then they take any measure they're supposed to take. Because where your right stops is where another person's begins. So you cannot prevent other people from going about their lawful duty because you have an agitation, as the case may be. It doesn't make any sense, right? So if you make your point, we've heard your point. And the law allows you to make your point. Your law allows you to ventilate your whatever it is in your mind. So you ventilate it and you leave it for other people to interpret whatever they want to interpret.
Absolutely. Recall that the INEC actually came out to talk about, I think last week, delisting some polling units.
Yes, about 240.
Yes, because of these matters of insecurity. Yes. But moving on from there, let's talk about the rally happening today in Lagos.
Oh, yes.
The APC presidential rally. The high point of the rally is happening today in Lagos, where the APC presidential candidate is coming home just to draw the curtains on his campaign, talking about the campaign of renewed hope. This is where he draws the curtains at the end of the day, and it is expected that the president will champion the rally today, since he says he's going to be a part of the rallies. Well,
the Lagos is already wearing a different look today, and you see that there are routes that the rallies are going to take.
Yeah.
So traffic is going to be affected today.
Yes.
But it goes a long way to letting you know that the Lagos is home to the APC presidential candidate.
Absolutely.
So everybody from the preparations yesterday, in fact, the last few days, people have been preparing, looking forward to today to converge at Teslim Balogun Stadium.
Yeah.
And it's going to be massive from what we're hearing and so on. So, it's the final of the campaign so far, and it is meant to be like the mother of all campaigns. The climax of the campaigns, because it's just few days to, so that after today, it will be the issue of, okay, going back to the drawing board, and then you begin to strategize from the cockpit, as the case may be. So it's going to be an interesting one, and Nigerians expect to hear from Lagosians, and also Nigerians expect to hear from the APC presidential candidate, for those who are in support of him, to reiterate some of the programs he has, some of the things he wants to do for the people if he becomes president of Nigeria.
Absolutely. And there's been traffic advisory ahead of that campaign that will come up later today.
Yeah.
So avoid every route that leads towards Teslim Balogun Stadium and all of it.